you know, it didn't happen today. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I was just like, "Rah!" And then I calmed down. And now, because of that experience, I have to cry because I'm sad. Because, like, why did I have that outburst?
You got to get it out, because think about what it is. There are thoughts in your brain, and thoughts have energy. And everything you see around you, from this camera, this Zoom, your shirt, your tattoo, guess what? Started as a freaking thought. That's why you got to dump it out, man. You got to let that shit come out of you and get it, and then you see it. And sometimes you see it, you're like, oh my God, I'm a crazy person. Look at these thoughts that are going through my brain. But you got to get it out.
That's how I feel, you know? Like, if someone overheard me, they'd be like, whoa, I thought she was so nice. She's the devil.
To the Top is brought to you by our friends, the Realty Medics. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing in properties, allow the Realty Medics to be your stockbroker for real estate. Check them out at therealtymedics.com.
Hello and welcome to another edition of To the Top. I'm your host, Carlos Alberto Navarro. To the Top is a show that makes you think, makes you laugh, whatever it may be. And the guest that has been on the show the most by at least 2 appearances would be Ms. Savannah Bone. And I could go into a bunch of different explanations of who you are, but at this point, I think the world knows who you are. You are a Gator entertainer. You are a queen of the Gators. You are one of my best friends. You are somebody that is hilarious and funny and thoughtful and many other wonderful things I'd like to say about you.
I knew I was going to need to talk to you today. So it's funny that you told your audience that you didn't need to introduce me, because I was just reading this motivational quote, and it was, hustle till you no longer need to introduce yourself.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that one. That's, that can work a couple different ways for sure. I mean, I think there's a certain point when people get so famous that they don't feel they need to introduce themselves. Like, I've met people like that. A lot of athletes that don't, and I know it's totally different, but like, they don't even say their first name. They're just like, you must know me, you know? And I think when you start losing what your first name is when you meet people, it's very odd. And I always remember meeting Derek Jeter and working my first commercial ever, and him introducing himself to me. And I thought that was the coolest thing. Like, hi, I'm Derek. I was like, aw, you're like super internationally famous, and you still have the humility to introduce yourself. So, I mean, I don't know. It's weird because I feel like obviously people know you from all the things that we've done, but I'm glad that you're one of the recurring guests. Like I told you from the beginning, I said, you're going to be one of the recurring guests.
Yes, definitely. And I'm super happy to do it, because I always feel so good afterwards, you know?
Good.
I always feel better after I do your podcast.
Well, how are you feeling in general right now? Because I'll be honest, I'm feeling a little bloated. I'm feeling a little salty. I ate a lot of sausages this weekend. I maybe you might need to pick me up, because I been eating really, really well, working out, and then just hit the weekend and just maximize my food intake. And it's not good. I feel depressed. I felt a bit depressed today, to be honest.
Let me tell you why you're really depressed. The reason you're really depressed is because of all the beautiful beaches in the state of Florida. You picked Daytona Beach for the first beach trip with your family. And that was a bad move. And that's why you're bloated. You're bloated from Daytona.
Daytona got me. That's right. I didn't think about that. Daytona does have a calorie intake. Is Flagler's not considered Daytona?
No.
Right? It's different, right?
No, it's completely different.
Okay. All right. So we ended up at Flagler. So I took my family on a big beach trip, for those who weren't listening to the Monsters in the Morning this morning. And I think it's also the residual beach. I feel like the beach doesn't leave you for a couple days. Like, my skin feels tight. I feel nice and like salty. But you love the beach, don't you?
I do. I love the beach. And I love that feeling that you have right now. Is like one of my favorite where there's like salt water in my hair and there's still a little bit of sand on me in the places they couldn't get it out. I think that's one of the coolest things.
All right. Well, I feel like you said just get used to the sand. Just let the sand be a thing. And I thought about that this weekend.
You got to embrace the sand.
Embrace the sand.
Like,
yeah.
the people that fight the sand don't have a good time at the beach. The people that just go, you know what? I'm going to be sandy. They have a great time because they're not worried about sand, and you can never beat the sand at the beach.
You're right. You're right. And as I looked at my beautiful, gigantic, world's largest beach blanket, and there was sand everywhere, I was like, how do I embrace the sand? Savannah said, embrace the sand. And so I feel like I have a nice tan. I feel like if I can get to the point of tanning, I'm still white right now, but my back has splotches of red, different places. But I feel like I could be like a nice tan Floridian, if you will.
Yeah.
And turn my daughters into one, which is so weird to say daughters now.
I know, that is weird to hear you say. When you said daughters, I was like, oh, Lennon and Megan.
I know. I have those moments. Like, I just had it today, because today was like, especially after like we socialize, quote unquote socialize, more than we have in months this weekend, because it just happened to be a friend was in town that was like, I have been quarantined for 2 weeks. I want to see the baby. It's like, okay. Then we had another friend of ours that has a daughter the same age as Lennon, and they've been quarantined. And so it was weird. Like, we hadn't been around a bunch of people, and then all of a sudden we were around a bunch of people. And this Monday I felt like, all right, I gotta get moving again. And so I'm glad it kicked off with you, with us doing this podcast.
Yeah, like it is. I'm not around anyone, and like, I'm pretty much like a hugger. I love kissing on the cheek when you see somebody. Like, it's definitely part of who I am. And I think that, like, even though I haven't recognized that that's definitely bothersome to me, because I never would have thought it before, just like coming to the station and hanging out and being with you guys physically, and then, like, going anywhere and like giving people big hugs and like kisses on it. Like, if you can't do that, because I'm by myself at my house, like, and you don't want to, and there's no one else I'm going to be hugging or kissing outside my house.
Yeah.
So it really has had an effect on me without me recognizing that as it was happening.
Yeah, I can get that. I totally get that. I felt like I felt that the other day when we had a friend come over the first time, and it was like, I sat and talked to her, and I could only imagine, I still have, obviously Megan and my kids, and being secluded, even though you're around other people at the park when you go to Gatorland, but then you come home, and I could totally see how that would have a huge effect. I'm sure a lot of people are feeling there. I mean, it's a weird kind of double-edged sword, right? Because you realize how much you need that compassion, maybe not the best word, but physical touch, socializing. It's oxytocin. It's a chemical that releases in your brain when you're with another person, and you share laughs, and you share memories, and you share, bonding and
energy.
Yes.
And just like the massage parlors always have a sign, right? And I never believed it. And it always said, there's no substitute for the human touch. And every time I saw that, I'd be like, whatever. It's absolutely true. They're absolutely right. I'm going to go get a massage just so someone can touch me and I won't get sick.
Hey, I know somebody in Daytona who'd be willing to touch you free of charge.
I was listening to the Slime Bag podcast that you did, and then something happened and it shut out right in the middle of it. So I didn't get very far into it.
Oh, okay.
But I did get he came to play pro frisbee, right?
Yeah. He's an interesting guy. He's
just amazing.
Guy. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be back on the pod. If you haven't listened to it, it's the prior podcast, but he would be so happy to know that you were listening to his podcast, because we didn't even get into his obsession with you. So that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I think that's the same reason. Like, you ever seen those sad stories of like those babies in Russia and China and stuff, that they don't get touched at all, and their brain starts to corrode. I mean, obviously that's the extreme levels and really sad, but like, I think what's
happening to me. My brain is corroding, Carlos.
You're a little Russian baby. That's what you are. You're a little Russian baby, and you're slowly. No, but it's weird. The last time we did the podcast, we were just in the room together, and we just did it, and it was like, hey, here we are. You were sitting across from me. I was, and that seems like it was a whole lifetime ago.
Oh yeah.
I mean, think about that.
Yeah, remember the times when we used to be able to just like we could eat off each other's food, and like we were hanging out, and like I don't know. It's a really like it's. Have you ever seen the movie Being John Malkovich?
Yeah. I got to see it again because I feel like I would enjoy it a lot better this time, knowing what it is.
We'll get back to the podcast in just 1 second, but are you freaking out right now because you either have to buy a piece of property, you have to sell your home? Well, the Realty Medics are right there for you. Like a good coach, like a good friend. Tommy and his team are so amazing at the Realty Medics. I have bought homes with Tommy. He's a good friend of mine, and he's somebody that you can trust. There's a lot of shiesty people out there that just want to make a quick buck on your home. They don't care about the deal. That's not Tommy and his team at the Realty Medics. Check them out at therealtymedics.com. And if you support To the Top, support the main sponsor who's been with us the entire time. And Tommy is there for you. I've sent him so many people, and they write me back and go, oh my gosh, Tommy and his team are amazing through and through and through. If you want to give him a call, it's 321-947-7653, and they do so much with real estate. They're literally like your stockbroker for real estate. So contact him as well, Tommy at therealtymedics.com, and say you heard it on To the Top, and they will take care of you because they are first class. Let's get back to the podcast.
I think you would, but one of the things in Being John Malkovich that I thought was so fascinating to me when I first saw it was, the world they live in is at a slant. The ceiling's at a slant, and all the ceilings are very low. So everyone's always bending to go everywhere, right? You don't remember that. And the reason that you don't is because they started with that, right? And it's so consistent that you don't even think about it anymore. You just know that that's the world they're living in.
Huh. Okay. That's interesting. It's not talked about?
No, they never address it.
But
it's just like this. Like, it's been happening for so long now. Like, you don't even notice it the same way.
Yeah. I see the parallel there. You're right. It's like, if you would have told me the pandemic would be like this, I wouldn't have believed you. I would have thought the pandemic was like, no, things are crashing around us. People are dying in the streets. But it's like life continues, but it's like tilted just a little like this way. And I think I most noticed that when you walk and you see everybody wearing masks, Yeah. I mean, to think, okay, 4 months ago, about 4 months ago, it kind of started in the beginning of March. But if you would have said, hey, most everybody is going to be wearing masks because that's one of the best ways to protect ourselves. We're like, man, that's from China. That's people in Japan do. That's Korea. We don't do it. We're America.
Right.
And obviously some people are still thinking that. But I mean, I think also we as humans can adjust very quickly. We can adjust to find, I mean, most of us, once again, I'm not, there's definitely a generalization because a lot of us are finding the worst parts about this. But I feel like we adapt pretty well to change. It's resisted at first, but then it's like, okay, I guess I gotta, wear a mask now. I guess I gotta wash my hands a little extra. I guess I gotta, I don't know. I mean, how have you been adjusting to it all?
Well, I usually travel throughout the year, like to all different places, and like I haven't been able to travel, and that definitely, like, I keep thinking to myself, well, okay, so this will be the first year in 3 years that I haven't been to Cuba in August.
I know, it's so sad. I know they miss you.
And that hurts my heart, right? Like, I feel like my family's there. I can't go see them. Now, I also have family in South Carolina, but I'm not taking any trips, so I can't go see them. I can't like everyone's life, I think, just got put on pause.
Yeah. I think it needed to happen.
Because you can still do stuff. But you can't do that much, but you kind of can, but you really can't. So, we're all in this weirdo limbo. And I don't know. For me, it's super depressing because I'm a people person. I want to be happy. I want to feed energy. And everyone walking around looking like scary, like I can't. It's not the same.
Yeah, I can get that in knowing you so well. But I also feel like maybe as a society, we needed this break. Maybe we were all going too fast. Maybe we, everything that happened with George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd, and the uprising of like justice want to be served. And I feel like that would have just been blown by. And I know obviously there's deaths and people getting sick, and that goes without saying that is horrible. But I think also, like, are our lives supposed to be where we don't spend any time with our family and we just obsessed about work? Are our lives supposed to be where we're just barely paying the bills, but we're going to work all the time and not focusing on our own health, not focusing on our own friendships and relationships? Right. I feel like you can't get out of this. You can't leave. This can't be finished. We can't be at the end of this and be like, well, that was horrible, and I'm going exactly back to the way I was. I feel like you have to be reflective of this moment.
Thank you so much for checking out The Monsters on YouTube. Now, if you want to watch the rest of this video, just click on the link in the description and head on over to the Top YouTube page. Make sure to subscribe. And if you want to hear the podcast, you can find that on the iHeartRadio app, iTunes, anywhere you hear podcasts, you can find the To the Top Never Stop podcast. The links are also below in the description of this video. Today will be a great day. To the top, never stop.